Hailing from the days of the original Medarot 1 where it all began, this haunting specter serves as an invisible defender and guardian for any team that he's placed on. This is GHT00 Mistyghost, with a kit of Guard 500, double Guard 300, float legs, and the leg ability of Hoplite, which buffs leg resist stats for every defense skill equipped. Now, at time of recording, Mistyghost has already been present in Medarot S for just a couple of months now as an enemy-only NPC, but is finally available for all players to collect not as a gacha model or a limited time, limited cycle, but as a fierce battle that anyone can farm and anyone can collect anytime that he's cycled in and out each week. And might I say, just as a prelude, compared to any other fierce battle that we have ever had to date, what Mistyghost lacks in combat capability, he makes up for with truly fantastic defense support. Guard 500 on the head part is a defense skill that, once active, will place Mistyghost on the command line. While he sits on this line, he will intercept any and all incoming attacks placed by the enemies that come to take their turns, and he will mitigate a certain amount of damage per each attack, making it notably weaker when he actually goes to get the to soak up the damage. The same can be said for Guard 300 on a lesser sense on either arm. So it's very abundantly clear right from turn 1 that Mistyghost packs no offense capability whatsoever. No support, no passive aggression, no outward support, no outward aggression, no nothing. Mistyghost's entire reason for being on the field is to plant his butt on the line and intercept attacks for incoming allies. And he is obscenely and absurdly wonderful for what he does with that too. With an average between mid 600s to low 500s to mid 600s across all three of his parts for his heating and cooling, and his HP starting at 3,300 per arm, just barely 3,800 for the head, and just over 3,600 for the legs. He's a little squishy in the armor department, but he does make up for it fairly well in other ways to round it back out. The only big weakness that Mistyghost has on any of his parts, Guard 500 or 300, is the fact that he also is susceptible to anyone that is using Destroy, naturally. So anyone that is packing that or any variant of the skill will crunch through him extremely easily, and he also can be cancelled by anyone using specific types of ailments, such as bug, virus, flash, freeze, and so on. But here's the catch. In contrast to basic guards, which tank the entirety of the blow at face value, and their damage reduction is tied directly to the leg's resist stats, Guard 300 and 500 do have the ability to possibly even negate certain kinds of attacks if they're weak enough. So this means if the enemy tries to catch Mistyghost off guard with, say, a freeze attack or freeze shot, if its damage after reduction is still falls under Mistyghost protection, he actually walks away with 0 damage. And this actually works extraordinarily well to his advantage on the fact if you look at his leg ability and the kind of stats he's bringing to the table. A float leg means that, as kind of obvious of a ghost, he's not going to have any problem with any terrains that he's put on at A rank across the board, and about 10% to all of his stats right from square one. But he's also packing just shy of 800 for his mobility, so compared to most other fierce battles, he's off to a fairly good start in the speed department. An evade at 1041 isn't too shabby either. He can dodge or graze as he sees the need to, but as a defender type, don't expect him to do it too terribly often. But a melee and a shoot resist stat at an equal 1086 in both numbers is a nice middle ground as a base factor. But that's also not counting Hoplite coming into mix. Hoplite states for every defense part equipped, his resist stats go up. And would you look at that, he's packing 3 defense parts, which means he's going to be the bulkiest you can possibly get him before anything else comes into play. So not only is he fairly bulky and able to round out his bulk very well with his leg ability, but the Guard 500 and Double Guard 300 gives him a lot of fantastic coverage for what he's able to do while he's on the field protecting his allies. And again, with the armor averaging about 3,300 to just barely 3,700 across all his parts on average, he's a little squishy, but you can easily make up for that with Metarotters or even HP chips. All this being said, as a pure set score, and for probably the very first time ever across the entirety of the Fierce Battle pool, I have to grade Mistyghost an absolute must-have 10 out of 10. This is a model that is required on any Metarotters library. Whether you use him or not, he is absolutely going to be the best possible friend you have, especially if you are brand new and just starting out. What he lacks in offensive capability, he makes up for with fantastic defensive coverage. He has very good arms with guard 500 and guard 300. None of them are heavy at that, so he can't get clobbered by anyone using a gravity skill. He's also got Hoplite to boost his resistance even higher to make his damage reduction even more efficient, and he's got a fairly solid base mobility before any other factor comes into play. If you're brand new to the game or just starting out, this is a model that absolutely will not steer you wrong, and you will not be sorry having him on your team. The only drawback to Mistyghost in this case, aside from, of course, still being able to be crunched with Destroy, is the fact that because he is a Fierce Battle, he will be a little more expensive to raise. But I guarantee you that investment will return to you tenfold once he's fully raised and able to protect your team properly. As mixed parts, I do have to rate at an equal 10 out of 10 for these very same reasons. Even if you choose to not use him as a pure set and max him out in other ways, such as switching out one of his guard 300s for, say, Needle Guard, or Zetai Guard, or Minus Guard, or something else of the like, to kind of spice up what he brings to the table, being able to keep him at triple defense with Hoplite on top of that is an absolutely wonderful investment you can use at any stage you are in your run and career as a Metarotter.